What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we're going to go over the current state of the election. What's going on with Biden? What's going on? He's asleep, or genocidal. But what's going on with Trump and Harris? Uh, yeah, we're going to go over all that and talk about where we are right now and how things are looking up, maybe down, probably. Anyways, here we go. Before we do that, though, consider liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff, and check out my other channels: JMDPLAY, JMD Drummer, the Discord, donate, or go up to JMD Nation on Patreon and do the damn thing, you know. All right, so this election season, I'm getting so it's so frustrating. Okay, where we last left off, we know Harris was on a roll. She had, a lot of support behind her, a lot of momentum going her way. Trump was flailing, having trouble finding how to, manage, Harris being his running, person he was going against now. He's still wanting Biden to come back, all this crazy stuff, right? And I said Harris has the best right now going forward as long as she keeps this momentum up, keeps her strategy going as she was, that should be able to maintain and should be able to coast her way in what I actually was considering to be probably a very easy, well, not a very, but a fairly somewhat easy win. Because I actually thought that she was way higher in polling than what the polls were showing. And that was part because I was saying that they are over-polling Trump. I felt that they've been skewing the conservative, was leaning more conservative on the polls for a while now. But specifically this year, there's been quite a few pollers that are purposely adding, or sort of inflating Trump's polling because they're worried about under polling him like they did in 2016 and 2020 and in 2020. So they're inflating his numbers on purpose because of that by, 2 or 3 points. And I think this is, which I think is ridiculous. And, now that's only some. There's a lot of pollsters, especially some of the main ones, that are not really doing that. But there's quite a few of them that are practicing this strategy or this method or whatever to try to, so that they don't look like, that it doesn't look like they're under polling Trump. And I feel like there's it's causing a lot of polls to look like he's stronger than he really is, or was anyways. But here's the problem. Harris changed her strategy. Apparently, these morons on her team that are more like from the Biden part, felt that, what they were doing just wasn't quite good enough. And that they needed to branch out even more. And they needed to try to pull in disaffected Republican votes, I guess. And need to focus more in on the Jewish voting and everything. So, so what we're going to do is we're going to hug and bear in Liz Cheney, bring her on the damn campaign trail. Even talks and stuff about her potentially being in the administration to try to get Republican votes. And then there, the whole issue with Israel, and she's just sort of molded back around to being much more pro-Israel now, and that all of Israel's right for this and that, and we're going to hold strong. We're going to commit to them, and we're going to make sure that they're protected in their defenses and all this kind of stuff. And nothing about trying to slow anything down. Nothing about. I mean, it's just full force, like the exact same Biden rhetoric, sounding exactly like Biden. It's like the Biden team said, you need to act like Biden. You need to be like Biden. You need to stay in this lane. You need to continue down this road. I'm sorry, but I remember Biden. Um, his polling was shit. He actually got out of the race because he didn't have a chance in hell of winning. I don't think acting more like Biden is what people want. Am I not? Am I wrong? I think the reason why she was gaining so much momentum and stuff is because she was at first really trying to differentiate herself from Biden. But now she's leaning into it. I mean, even when asked on The View, I think it was last week or whatever, or the week before, the one big question that they asked her was, how could you, separate yourself? A lot of people want, or really want to see a separation between you and Biden. What would you say is a big separation between you two? And she couldn't say anything. She basically was like, yeah, I'm Biden. What? I mean, whoever has given her the strategy for the past, say, 3 weeks, maybe 4, or at least the past 3 weeks, they need to be fired. You need to let them go right now. Because they're ruining you. They are completely ruining your campaign momentum. You need to get back on the wheelhouse of trying to differentiate yourself, being completely directive on, all your stances on your economical policies and all these new policies you've brought out that were sounding somewhat, progressive to some degree, not completely, but to some degree. Sounding good for the American people and helping them out. And you need to be back on the bandwagon of, yeah, sure, fine. Israel had a right to defend themselves, but how they do it matters. And the Palestinians, need to be able to, live comfortably and without the, fear from Israel as well. Everybody should be able to live, a two-state solution and all that jazz. Like, all her Cowtown she was doing before. Like, that's where she needed to stay. But apparently, they've, like I said, some people have said, no, you need to actually move back this way. Because I guess they're thinking that the all above thing is going to benefit them. That we needed to pull Liz Cheney in and all that, and get all these Republican votes that maybe she can pull. Nobody really likes Liz Cheney either. Not even the Republicans. They don't like the Cheneys. Liz Cheney didn't even win her reelection. I mean, people don't like her. You're not helping the situation. And while, Liz is trying to embrace this whole, I am the real Republican, and trying to trying to pull Republicans back to the original or whatever, the more Bush era Republicanism. It's not happening. I don't see it happening. And this shouldn't be hard. This should not be hard at all, especially when Trump is out there saying the most insane fucking shit. He's off his rocker. He's continuing to get more and more authoritarian, more and more dictatorial, more and more aggressive with his rhetoric and the shit talking he's doing and all this stuff. I mean, it's crazy. The stuff that's been coming out of his mouth the past couple weeks. And yet, he shouldn't even be anywhere close to Kamala right now. This is a guy that's, I mean, just talking all kinds of mad stuff. Check this. Trump wages campaign against real-time fact checks. He's been apparently doing this for a while now, but he's getting harder and harder on it. He doesn't want people to fact check him. He doesn't want journalists and stuff to fact check him. That's become a major thing. He didn't do the 60-minute interview a week ago because they were going to fact check him. The vice president debate, they weren't supposed to fact check. Vance pushed for them to not fact check because he didn't want to be fact checked either. This era of politics, since Trump entered into like this whole thing, and fact checking has become like a major deal for journalists and for just news agencies in general when it comes to politicians now, is because of Trump and the unbelievable lies over and over and over again. Why do you think you need to be fact checked? Why is it such an issue to be fact checked? Because you have fucking lied over and over again. You continuously lie. I don't think there's a single thing of truth comes out of your mouth. And it's even more revealing the fact that he doesn't want to be fact checked because he knows that he's lying. And as long as he doesn't get fact checked, his lies get out there and his people believe them and they continue to support him because he's got them all fooled with his lies. And Vance did the same thing. Don't fact check me. Please don't fact check me because I'm lying up here and you know it. Don't fact check me. Now, their argument is that they're being fact checked and the other side's not. That Harris isn't being fact checked and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's because Harris doesn't flat out lie. Like, she manipulates the truth. She manipulates things, says things a little bit, out of sorts, like a regular politician does. Kind of somewhat misleading here and there, kind of Weasley, right? Like most politicians. But those are the kind of things that they usually let you go with. The reason why he's being fact-checked because he says extremely blatant lies. Extremely blatant misinformation that is not even remotely close to the truth. That's the reason why he's being fact-checked. That's the reason why Vance is being fact-checked. Donald Trump and his campaign have waged an aggressive campaign against fact-checking in recent months, pushed TV networks, journalism organizations, and others to abandon the practice if they hope to interact with Trump. Trump nearly backed out of an August interview with a group of black journalists after learning that they planned to fact-check him. Fact-check his claims. Remember him going against going into the Black National Black Journalists or Association of Journalists or whatever. The following month, he and his allies repeatedly complained about the fact-checking that occurred during his debate with Vice President Kamala Harris, berating journalists and news executives in the middle of the televised debate. And this month, Trump declined to sit down in an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes because he objected to the show's practice of fact-checking, according to the show. Campaign advisors also expressly asked CBS News to forego fact-checking in its vice presidential debate with Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who they then complained on air about moderator correcting him. The moves are the latest examples of Trump's long-held resistance of being called to account for his falsehoods, which have formed the bedrock of his political message for years. That's his message. Lie to you, lie to you, lie to you, make you believe it, lead you down the wrong path through his lies. For example, Trump has seized and fabricating tales of migrants eating pets and Venezuelan gangs overtaking cities and pushing his anti-immigration messages as he seeks a second term in office. All lies. Lucas Graves, a journalism and mass communications professor at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, said that publicly chafing at fact checking has become a form of tribalism amongst some Republicans. I don't know what this is. Within the political establishment on the right, it's now considered quite legitimate to say publicly and openly that you disapprove of fact checking. Deciding what's true, the rise of political fact checking in American journalism, he added, precisely because Trump's unusual relationship with the truth, even for a politician, it's hardly surprising that he would object to it so volubly, and so forcefully. I guess that's like loudly, like volumably, or whatever. I'm not sure. The Washington Post fact checker team tallied that at the end of Trump's presidency, he had made 30,573 false or misleading claims, an average of about 21 false, erroneous, and misleading claims a day. In August, Trump had agreed to appear at the National Association of Black Journalists gathering, where three of the group's members would interview him. But upon realizing that he would be fact-checked in real time, Trump's team said that he would not take the stage. NABJ President Ken Lemon described a tense scene backstage as Trump's team objected to any fact-checking of the interview, with the discussion lasting more than an hour. Discussion lasted more than an hour. If you guys are going to fact-check, he's not going to take the stage, Lemon said, a Trump aide told him. They were just totally insistent that he was not going to take the stage if we fact-checked. Lemon said he spoke with three aides who at one point called to confer with someone not at the event about their objections to fact-checking as the audience waited. At one point, Lemon said he became convinced Trump was ultimately going to back out of the interview over his fact-checking concerns. So Lemon prepared remarks to go out and explain the cancellation to the crowd. But in the end, he took the interview, making headlines by falsely suggesting that Harris had only recently decided to identify as black. Yeah, we remember that one. It was a very revealing moment where we got to hear him answer questions, but we were shocked at some of the answers were. What some of the answers were. Trump officials blamed the delay in taking the stage on technical audio issues. Yeah, that's pointless. Harris too has taken a cautious approach to interviews, largely eschewing rigorous policy questionnaires for low stakes venues and having her advisors at times try to pre-screen questions. That's probably correct, which all politicians do that. A recent blitz last week of unscripted media settings hewed to friendly questionnaires, including Howard Stern's, Sirius XM, CBS's, she did a Howard Stern interview. Sorry. That was actually a pretty decent interview, although the Middle East did not come up in it at all. They talked about Ukraine and Russia, but Howard Stern did not bring up the Middle East. I was a little annoyed at that. During Harris's NABJ forum, the interviewers pressed less contentiously than they did with Trump, and during ABC's presidential debate with Trump, the moderators did not fact-check her in the same manner. It's because she didn't really lie. One Trump advisor speaking on the kitchen anonymity to describe the campaign's thinking argued that Trump is treated more harshly than others. Every candidate is opposed to fact checking on some degree, but if you're Trump, you know they are always going to go after you harder. Why? Because you lie harder. But Harris does not misstate the truth regularly as Trump does, and she has also not protested being fact checked. And unlike Trump, she sat down for a wide ranging interview with 60 Minutes. It was shit. I didn't even go over that 60-minute interview because it was complete shit. Ridiculous. Which just made Trump's not going on it make him look better. As part of Harris's interview, the show took the extraordinary step of explaining why it was not going to air similar segments with Trump, who was initially agreed to the interview before changing his mind. Yeah, that we know this. Campaign advisors acknowledged there were discussions with CBS over fact checking. The campaign objected to the network wanting to cut into the interview to fact check. Yeah, so I mean, it's just ongoing that he doesn't want to be fact checked. Neither does JD Vance or anything. Why? Because he's constantly spewing lies, constantly making up He's made up a whole shit ton of lies and misinformation about the hurricanes the past couple weeks, talking about how they weren't going to get any help, or that they, in that FEMA wasn't doing their job and the administration wasn't doing. They're just leaving them out there to die or to suffer or take care of themselves and whatever. I mean, it's all lies. He's just flat out lying over and over again. And now he's also talking about going after what was the latest? Hold on. The latest I'm trying to find it real quick. Okay, what? He apparently in some interview, or maybe even in some of his rallies, has talked about what was the wording about basically about the problem in right now when asked about or talking about the things wrong with the country, and he blows up about all these different things are going on, especially with immigration. People are coming over and they're taking over your jobs, or doing all this stuff. Rapists and drug gang members and all this kind of shit. Like all these overblown and just crazy ass stuff. He said something about that the true or that the more concerning or true evils in America right now were the people on the enemies on the inside, and this was pretty much in reference to Democrats. Because he said the far left radicals and all this stuff, which Republicans think that all Democrats are far left radicals. It's nonsense, but that's what they think. And that the National Guard or even the military needs to be basically like put on them on these enemies from the inside. To go after the other side. He wants to put our military on on Democrats. politicians, maybe even voters. I mean, we already know he tried to do he wanted to do the insurrection act, back when the BLM protest and stupid riots that were going on during the protest. He wanted to see, and it wasn't. It was the Milley, the general that or whatever that said no. We're not going to put U.S. troops or soldiers. We're not putting military on our American citizens. That's not what we do here. He had to tell them, no, sir, we're not doing that. That's not going to happen on the U.S. soil. But this time, so luckily, they kept him from doing that. There was somebody in place there to hold him back. But this time, he's planning on surrounding himself with all his loyalist yes men that will do whatever he wants. So he's already, put out about, his political opponents being jailed and all this kind of stuff. Now he's, talking about we just need 1 hour a day or something for the police to get out there and just go hard and get rough, really rough on crime. Sounding like the Purge, but the police against the people instead of people against people. This is the kind of rhetoric this dude is spewing, and yet people are calling this election close. Polls are saying they're 50-50. Or at best, Kamala has only 1 point on him. This dude is talking crazy ass authoritarian dictator like shit. And the election is close. Like, what the hell are we doing here? What is going on in America? What those of you who are just are you not hearing it? Are you deafening yourself to what he's saying? I don't understand it. Because I still have family members and people on my Facebook and stuff constantly sharing all this kind of stuff about, sort of the, the back and forth, if you save America or blah, 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 or you're voting for evil if you vote for, this or that. A lot of them don't even suggest whether or not it's actually talking about Kamala Harris or Trump. So a lot of times I flip it on them. Well, then you better not vote for Trump. I mean, clearly they're trying to insinuate, not to vote for Harris, but I mean, come on. The one who is projecting all that type of rhetoric is Trump. This should be a walk in the park for Harris. But yet she's making the wrong moves now and could literally fucking lose the election to Donald fucking Trump. I'm without words now. I don't even know what to say anymore. Get it together, Kamala. Stop the BS. You should be better than this. Seriously. Get back on the where you were. And finally separate yourself from Biden. Get completely distinctive on Israel. Yeah, we will support you in helping you defend yourself, but we will not support you into helping offense yourself. We will not help you offensively. That's what she needs to say. I will give you all the defensive ammunition you need to defend yourself from incoming stuff or whatever, but I will not be sending you any more offensive weapons. And you will do a ceasefire. Break them off. If and that's the thing, if this had been, if this had been any of our so-called enemies, if this had been Iran, or if this had been China, or Russia, or something like just doing these actions that Israel is doing, and making the comments and the rhetoric that they have been doing all along, this would have been stopped months ago. Months ago, they would have, U.S. would have come out, terrorist that, and condemning this and condemning that, and stop them. I mean, but Israel gets to do what they want. Harris, come on, get with the program. You've got the people behind you that would back you. You've got Tim Walz there. That's his actual, even though he's, placating to the administration right now because he feels like he has to. His hands are, cuffed or whatever. But you could stop that. Come on. Before you wind up losing this race. Anyway, that's enough. If you like what's being said here, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the whole situation, about the election. Are things going south for Kamala? Are they going south for both of them? I don't even know. Just let me know what you think. Until next time, peace. ClearTalk. I'm out.